Good morning, afternoon, evening, guys. You're locked into Alkalise to Realise in conjunction with Conscious Minds TV, and I'm your host, DVG. And today, my very special guest is my brother, Nick Camleo. Me and Nick have been talking for a while now, probably over a year. Uh, we've been studying a lot of the same stuff. We talk regularly, and whenever we talk, we have such amazing conversations. And I always think, oh man, I should have recorded this. So today we're going to bring you some interesting stuff, and also I want to get people to get used to Nick. Nick's recently started doing live videos on his Facebook, and he has such amazing wisdom and comes from an interesting background, and I think he needs the light to shine a bit more. So this is the perfect opportunity for us to connect and bring you guys some, not wisdom like we're the enlightened ones. We found out such good information that we just want to share it with the world and help other people and help humanity. How's it going, brother?
Hello, brother. I see you.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
How's things?
Very, very, very good. It feels good. Sometimes it feels bad.
Yeah, man.
It's all about balance. Recognizing them both.
Definitely.
Hello to you, and hello to all the brothers and sisters here. You know, I love you all, and that's what this is about. The root of everything is love.
That's right.
I think connecting is what it brings together.
Before we get deep into the conversation about what we've been looking into and what our current journey is, I always like to get a bit of background information on my guests so people can get an idea of what your viewpoint is and where you're coming from. Was there a specific moment in your life when you started looking into, how can I coin this, alternative views or spirituality? Or is it something that you've been doing throughout your life? Or was it a particular event or was there a defining moment where you thought, aha, I'm going to start looking into more deeper stuff?
Yeah, I think there were defining moments, plural, just like Tahu Vavohu. I think it was a series of them. To recognize just one would be like just picking one color out of the rainbow.
Yep.
And that's why the plural part of it is so, it all comes back to the one. But yes, I can tell you one in particular that that rings over them all, and that is the number 12. When I realized and had an encounter where I was able to see that in my own thoughts without reading it, it was amazing. It sparked an interest in me, and to look more into myself. And then when you really start to get down to it, you become the best version of yourself in order to understand this. Because if you're trying to understand the Creator, if you're trying to understand all of this, you're never going to do it without your heart. And I think a lot of us put the carriage before the horse, if you will.
Yeah.
Though I don't like, animal abuse, I totally stand against, and I think it boils down to loving all creatures. But my brother was, involved in a gang when he was younger, and he did some, real brutal stuff. And it was, he was sent to a home, and he was taken out of our home, and I was really upset. And I went up in my room and I locked the door, and I yelled at the energies. I yelled at the light, and I yelled at the dark. And at one moment in time, with tears coming down my eyes, missing my brother, I said, "Why can't it just?" And in that moment, I knew that whatever happened, whatever this duality is, it has to do with those energies and something obviously being really, I don't even, it's tough to speak on it. But at that moment, I uttered 4 numbers, and the numbers were 1, 2, 2, 1. I uttered them out of just pure innocence, just asking God, show me something. I'm sure all of us, every single one of us, have asked God at some moment, in some drift, maybe more than, if you're like me, I do more than once. Sometimes I like to get greedy with God, just like a kid would be with their parent, it's never enough, right? Once you really get to feel the
Yep,
creator,
definitely.
you want to be closer and closer. So now, I can't stress it enough. I think if you're looking for the truth, if you're looking for the answer, it it lies in having love and appreciation and respect for all beings, and not wanting to usurp anything around you and walk light. My uncle taught me this when I was young. My Native American uncle, really spiritual guy. Um, he taught me, the only thing you leave in the woods is your footprints. And from that moment on, I mean, we would, usurp, these huge turtles when I was like 4 years old, man. But we would put them back. We would put them back. I guess it was just an understanding. But things like this lead up to your awakening. But the number 12 and 21, well, that's everything. There's so much to be said about that, and I'm sure we could do 10 interviews and videos about this sort of subject.
Yeah,
I guess the point is to hit hard on what it means in broad. It's duality. It's the world we live in. It's the energy. It's what they wanted to create with the Twin Towers, with the two squares where they lay in Mecca. What do? They go around a square.
yeah,
Lower Manhattan, what do they do when they go to the old site? There's two black pools that are what? Squares.
yeah.
There's the cube. When you walk in the One World Trade Center, there's the cube.
Yeah, that's the symbolism of Saturn, for those that don't know.
Yeah, and yeah. So understanding, being truthful, loving each other, stopping with our egos, that is so huge in understanding this energy, because it's a ruling energy. And if you're going to be part of anything that's a rule, then you better go get your shit right. Better go do your laundry. Better, you better clean up. If you know your mother's coming over, you're what are you gonna do? You're gonna get out of your shit. You're gonna go sweep your kitchen, right? And I think that's what it is. It's like calling us, man, and understanding it. But yes, I have some unique perspectives because I've been able to, journey where I think if anybody's looking for it, it's where you find it when you're doing absolutely nothing and
Bro,
shutting your brain
you're
down.
spot on, man. Because I always find that you always find the deepest answers when you go within. A lot of us, generally in society, we're looking without. Oh, I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I want to dress like this person. I want to have this trainer. But they're all like superficial, how can I say, superficial fixes. They'll just keep you happy for a while, but it won't bring you to true happiness. And I totally agree that the only way you can be happy is to go within and just or what I would say to people is, I think the reason why we don't go within a lot is because a lot of the time our past or our life, we might have been through a lot of trauma, and it's hard for many of us to face. But personally, I would say to people, face them, because when you come out on the other side, you'll be a stronger and a more enlightened person.
Mm, agreed. Like I think of the time when we didn't even use words, when you would say that and I would just look at you, Mehmet, and I would say, and you would know. And it comes from the baritone. It's the Venus. It's the vocal.
Yep.
It's this beautiful sound that we all, and yeah, brother. There's so much sacred knowledge, and it's around us all. And we all have numbers that have affected us, whether in our charts and our birth. And it really is common sense truth.
Definitely.
And for a number of years, I didn't do much with it. I was one of those people, when I decided to actually pay attention to something, I did it for a reason. And at this point, especially with all I've learned in my life, with my mistakes, my falls, my rises, I understand the beautiful meaning of truth. And once you understand there's just, it's, some people get involved in this stuff because they want, a family, and they feel at home, and other people have, we get excited, but take a time out for the animals, take a time out for the holy part of it. It's not just all colors and fancy angels and health and happiness. Take one time out and think about what we're actually trying to unearth here. If you're in the truth movement and you're really in it, step back and start with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror.
Definitely. I totally agree, brother, because I feel like, and I got to this point last year, which is why I stopped kind of doing videos for a bit, because like I feel like I was coming online preaching to people and trying to do all this stuff, but I wasn't really doing anything to myself and fixing myself. And I thought to myself, hold on a second. I had to check myself and think, how can I come online preaching or trying to do this when I'm not 100% myself? Obviously, every day of our lives, we're always evolving. And I'm still not nowhere near the best version I am. But I'm.
You just said I am. You see that?
What's
You
that?
see that? When you just said I am.
Yeah.
The presence you bring, it's helping all of us to know what happens when you stop paying attention to, your attention gives way to your intentions.
Yep, definitely.
So when we create each other to have, get up every day and listen for the birds. If you find a bug, pick it up and put it on a different path, help it out. Don't just smash everything. Tread through earth lightly and have respect for all things and people, places, insects, animals. There's so many options. The one option I was so excited about is the health option for people that love eating that regimen of food in that way, which I did at one time. And I work strongly with my heart because that's how I understand it so much. If we can make these meals made out of, like jackfruit, pulled pork sandwiches, these textures, these options for everyone to make the switch, to understand what, bring a, I like to call it, this is simple truth too. I love it. This is why, and people will really relate to this that have journeyed. Red meat, white meat, pescatarian, fish, vegetarian, vegan, fruitarian, breatharian.
Yep.
Oh, away.
Brother, at what point, we've spoke about this in our private conversations, when did it strike home for you about going plant-based? And was there a particular reason? Like for me, I've been plant-based for 4 years, or vegan, or however. Personally, I don't like all these terms because I feel like they separate us. It's like, obviously I am vegan in the sense I haven't eaten meat or any dairy products for 4 years, but I don't really like to coin myself as a vegan because just, again,
No, never coin yourself. It's kind of like a smoker's journey. I tried the patch, I did this, I did that. No, you wake up one day and you just say, fuck this, I own me.
Exactly.
I own me. Every one of us, I hope that inspires some people. When just wake up that one day, fuck your medications, all this, pardon my French. Just own yourself. You are your own sovereignty. Own yourself.
Perfect. Totally agree.
Don't let all these commercials and television and all these distractions and everyone else's ideas ruin the purity of you just being able to sit with you.
Definitely, brother. That again, that ties into like where I was going with why I say I don't like to put labels, because I'm not vegan, I'm not this, I'm just me. Do you get what I mean?
Now, sometimes I've, I've like if I had a slice of cheese pizza, I'd be like, oh no, I'm not vegan anymore. But oh, tough. It was where I was in this moment in time, and then I made the switch, and I did it slowly.
Yeah,
I did it,
exactly.
like I weaned my way. I didn't just say one day I'm going to cut this out of my diet and that. Now, what's interesting about it now is that I can go long periods without anything, and that's the fasting stage of it, but well,
Yeah.
1 day at a time, maybe up to 2 days, I think is my longest so far. But it's a process, and you have other ways you can get vitamins, and when you appreciate your being and the breath you take, you just get more out of it all the time. And that's where the holy part of it comes in, that's so sacred. And some of us in the truth movement, and I hate to point fingers, and I'm not judging, but don't use the truth for your market. Use the truth from your heart. Don't get caught
Spot
up in the
on, brother.
marketing of the truth.
Spot on. I totally agree. Like me and you, we don't do this because we want brownie points, or we're trying to promote something or a particular channel, or we just do this because, like you said, it comes from our heart and we love doing what we're
Well,
doing. Right?
in 20 years, even coming out, and I've met all peoples from all different walks of life, and that's one of the beautiful things I do love about myself, was that the Creator gave me a chance to grow up in an environment where I was with all different cultures, and then to have an appreciation for all people and not see a color anymore, but just hear voices and see attitudes. And then that's when, as I got older, I learned what integrity was. Took me a while. Hey, everybody. Hi, I'm an adult with you. It's not easy. There's no handbook to this, but you get up on it, and that really matters for you. It does. It does. And then once you realize what integrity is, you care about what you put in your body. You care about what you pay attention to. And that's the most beautiful part of this whole message. And in all these years of doing all this with people, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think there was one teacher or school that had the truth more when I did decide to get up and pay attention to something than Santos Bonacci at Universal Truth School. I thought, hands down, we love you, brother. He's, done a lot for the people, and we share a special relationship. Those of us that really care about Santos, and
Definitely.
I'd like to give Santos his props. He deserves it.
Likewise, respect Brother Santos, man. He's taught literally, and I always say this in a lot of my videos. It's like, I'm not saying this to brown nose or to be a fanboy, but Brother Santos has literally given us the keys to understand everything. It was like the first time I watched Brother Santos's video, literally my whole life changed. And I totally agree, brother. His work is his way of teaching, and the amount of knowledge he has and the way he puts it all together is unbelievable. If anyone hasn't checked out Brother Santos Bonacci's work, you can go to his website, which is the universaltruthschool.com, or his YouTube channel, which is Mr. Astrotheology. If you haven't checked that channel out, you've been missing a lot. I would strongly advise you to check that channel out.
It comes down to some people in this world generally care about people, and forget about the health, forget about the yoga classes, forget about the all this information. Stop and just be human for a second, and really, men and women around the world, love yourselves. Then you could better love each other.
Definitely.
And that's what this is all about. You change attitudes when you do that. People get up and they have a glass of water with some lemon. They understand what it means to put a ginger and what a little blender is, and have shakes and live on more fruits and be more vibrant. For me personally, my journey, I was like, I was working a lot. I was just living the same regimen. I was like 60 pounds heavier. I immediately lost 2 pant sizes. Just started feeling more energetic, feeling more vibrant. And I practiced like sun gazing and things of that nature, which are pretty deep once you get to understand that. And it supplies a new life in you. And I can somehow go along the means of recalling these things from energy from the sun. That's why I'm so passionate about foods that are born from the sun. Yeah,
Definitely.
somebody asked me, "Oh, don't you know plants? They feel pain too." Eh? I'm like, well, you know what? Anything you could put your hand under falls in your hand, it's ready to give. I feel a little bad about pulling the roots out of something, yes, but everything goes back to the one. And I mean, my passion for the love of animals and the holy part of it far outweighs the marketing, spiritual guru. I don't want to string anybody along ever. I like humble, kind truth, so we could all move forward together. And I think anybody that really has worked with people one-on-one together, what do we call it? Personally, we call it a build, right?
Yep.
So that's what we're doing with people every time we meet them. Let's build.
Definitely, brother. Like you said, it's like this is the thing. Like sometimes I find in the truth communities, like, oh, let me debate you. I want to battle you to see who's right. And this is what I always say to people. It's not about, I don't do this to be right or to be wrong. It's just to understand. I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to understand where this person's coming from. Because like you said, you mentioned how you grew up with many different ethnic backgrounds. Where was that where you grew up, brother?
I grew up in central New York. It
Wow.
was Cornhill in the city of Utica, a small city,
Yeah.
um, with a Native American, mother's background and family. That we were, lived in a, lower end neighborhood, and a father's family that lived in like the suburban neighborhood. The Italians.
Yeah.
Up there, it's a whole different world. And I used to go back and forth to both,
Yeah.
and it was amazing the differences I can see. To see the different the hardships down here when going back to mom's house, and everybody dressed nicer, smelling better up here. Manicured lawns and you know personalities. It was quite the upbringing. And but one thing I remember is, even though when I was in the so say hood, right, I always climbed trees as a kid. I remember being a kid at night, 4 years old, making a tree house and going and sleeping in the tree house, even in the hood, right on the corner. If there was a tree, we built it. We built a tree house. But because I think, and that's what I think, where I got a lot of my energy from and understanding. And people that understand what it means to touch, your cerebral cortex is the bark of a tree. When you understand the etymology, and shout out to brother Jay Russell,
Definitely.
Raw Zen, and it's it's amazing. And this is it's why the Pope, I mean, I don't get into religion anymore. I stand with my people, and my people really know what I mean. I'm with you. I love you all, people. This is, at the bottom of the Pope's staff, you see let me see if I can do this.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. It's the pine cone.
Yep.
And I remember when I was a kid, there was 9 pine trees around where I slept, and they were tall. They were broad, 60, 70, 80 feet, right? And when I got older, and now what I understand and all the studies I've done, the meditation and, life lessons at this state in my life at 40, putting all this back together, I can see the, the connections with everything in life, because I've been able to look at it from that view. And I think a lot of us, we get caught in a life that pulls us, and the internet distracts us from paying attention to climbing a tree or running outside and sucking your feet in the dirt, and just being jolly. You know how hard it's been for me in life when I'm in a good jolly mood just to fucking be alive. How I feel so alone sometimes when you're walking like that, because people don't really receive it well. They go, oh, you're nuts, you're crazy. Oh, what are you on? I'm not on anything. I just understand that you're a being and I'm a being and I'm recognizing you. And dude, man, woman, sir, I might not ever see you again in my life. So bless you and have a nice life.
Exactly.
You know, live in your moment with people. Live in your moment with them. And then you're gonna start caring more about what you put in your body. That's where it starts. And then you're gonna get changes throughout your attitude and everything.
Definitely, brother. I totally agree, man. Because like with me, like in terms of like changing my diet and trying to go to a more plant-based diet, it was so crazy. I'll just tell you a quick story. In like around 2015 is when I first got into Santos's work, and I saw a video where he was explaining that in the Hindu religion they spoke about that if you eat animals, you'll get eaten by animals. And literally, like a week or two later, I was in the park with my dog, and my dog got into a fight with another dog, and I tried to break the fight up, which was the wrong thing to do. And then the other dog attacked me, and I got bitten on my arm and under my armpit, and I was in so much pain for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I remembered like that video of what Santos said. I was like, oh my God, like, and then like that was like in August time, and then I was contemplating it for like a good few months. And then when it came to like the 1st of January 2016, I said, you know what? Like my heart, I can't lie to myself anymore. I know I'm doing something wrong because the amount of pain I felt just by being bitten, I thought to myself, wow, imagine all that pain all them poor animals go through every single day just for me to eat when I can eat something else. And that was like a defining moment for me.
Absolutely. And I want to take this moment to touch the hearts of hunters and people that love eating meat and everything, because, you know, I love you and I am you and I was you and I'm the future you and the past you. And this is something that when I came to realize, it was like life changing for me. And that's why I don't, you know, we can judge anybody. Let people walk their own path. Just be you, and people are going to respect you more everywhere. Stop trying to be your favorite celebrity. Stop trying to be your favorite politician. Stop trying to be your favorite, you know, executive producer. You know, just be you and understand what you are. Everything we do takes our attention away from the divinity that's created that spark that lives inside of us. And until we realize that, we're going to keep running around like a hamster in a cage.
Definitely. Yeah, totally agree, brother. It's like, oh, sorry, you just cut out for a minute. Sorry.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, I totally agree with what you're saying about just be you. And that's like in the last 4 years of my life, since I've been on my spiritual journey, I mean, I've learnt more in the last 4 years of my life than I have in my whole life. And I've been to university, I've been to college, I've been to school. Like yourself, I've mixed with black people, white people, Asian people, Turkish people. Like when we used to go out, our group was so multicultural as well. So like I've learned a lot from that. But in terms of like really learning is when I kind of stepped away from what you would call the mainstream world for 4 years. And literally from then till now, brother, I've been researching and trying to change my diet every single day, and it helps.
Yeah, it doesn't happen unless you could totally shut things out.
Exactly.
You know, I just came through a point where, you know, I was, you know, in my marriage, you know, we were separated, not getting along. My daughter had graduated. You know, they were, okay, mom's family. And I just found myself for the first time in a long time completely alone. And I embraced it, and I became, just encompassed in studying, working out, and traveling to do good deeds wherever. And to be a superhero, you don't have to dress up and have all this money, and all you got to do is go and look at somebody and smile and give them a reason to see something different in themselves, and take time out in your everyday life, in public. When somebody acknowledges you, see that person as everything, because whether their intentions are good or bad, they're going to see something in you where they're not going to feel so cool about being bad. And I think if you really follow your heart, you're onto something, and that changes the world.
Definitely, brother. I totally agree. I mean, like, treat people how you want to be treated. That's like one of the most simple sayings ever, but it's so true.
It absolutely is. And when I seen the numbers 1221, that's what I felt. I felt the Creator within, letting me know that it was a simple truth. I felt the word truth. I felt the word, it's like it's right in front of you, like the tip of your nose. You really can't see the tip, can you? But I'm telling you, if anybody, and I'm humble when I try to approach, and I think when you let people know your relationship with the Creator, it's very special. So when you reach that point, when you have that relationship within yourself with the Creator, you should always, always, always share it respectfully. Don't be ashamed. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, you're being boastful. Oh, you want attention. No, if you're sharing it from the heart, you never want attention. Just like Jay told me, all this, we were talking about this the other night. It's going. Shout out to Jay Russell. All the celebrities doing all this all the time. Well, it's just like Superman's evil twin. Remember what was it, Superman 3? When he's drinking at the bar, he's got the shots going, the old one from the 80s. Everything beautiful has an evil twin. But it's sometimes, I think it's how we make it. I think we make it up. And that lies within. That's why thought. It's so special, the thought. We need to be more delicate with our thought.
Definitely.
We really do. If you're thinking about voting this year, before you go to vote for yourself, that you can make better decisions.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Instead of putting see, this is what voting is about. Like, they want us to hand our power over, whereas, like you said, we should be voting for ourselves, and we should be bringing the power back to ourselves. I couldn't agree with you, brother.
Well, when like here in America, I love the idea of true Americans. I am a definition of a true American. I was born on this land, my heart, and what I want to see for people is I want to see them healthy. I want to see them be able to eat the right things. I want to be able for them to know the truth about what's going on above their heads, and how to understand the heavens, and not be so caught up in their 9-to-5 life. We should all we're walking each other to, that's what we're doing. We're walking each other home to the one source, and this source is connected to this video right now.
Yep.
That's why so many people are sharing videos, and they're like, look at, we all have different creative ways of expressing the truth. Even this channel, for conscious minds, and the Alkalise to realize. These people are excited. These people are fantastic. This is their own way of being their expressive selves and sharing the truth. And sometimes we need to stop judging each other. Don't judge anybody for how they share their truth. Just encourage them and walk with them. There is no leader in truth. We all hold each other's hand and we fly together.
Totally agree, man. Like you said, there's not one leader. We're all individual leaders, but like you said, we're just all holding hands to create one big, like you say, like Santos always says, like, we're a drop, you have an ocean, and then you have a drop of an ocean. A drop is still a part of the ocean, but it's not the whole thing. But it can still, once it stops being a drop, it molds back into the one, and that's exactly what you're saying. So we're all
That's what your loaf.
individual drops, but we all come from the ocean.
That's what your loaf of bread. That's what that does, doesn't it?
Yep.
I was laughing about this the other night. It goes moldy, right? It starts getting green, starts getting funky. You know why? Because it doesn't like being bread anymore. It doesn't want to be bread. It wants to go back to the earth. It's the green. It's the heart.
Totally, brother.
The drums. You know, when we were young, you get in your car, you got those 10s, you got those 12s in the back seat. What's it all about? That's the thumb. That's a high like addiction to thumb. It's in its highest form. That's an addiction, you know. But then you get in your car, you're rattling your head off. Remember being young, you get in those cars, you feel you're the shit, and you gotta go slow, and everybody's gotta see you, and you're just boom blaring, and your ears are rocking, and you know. Now I just can't express enough. That's how we relate. That's the heart. That's the thud. That's the drum. Bum, right? It's that drum. People get up to drums and the trumpet and all this. That's why these beautiful, you know, when we look at life, let's start seeing the most beautiful things around us. You know, I think we concentrate on negative, and if we all as an earth get together and start concentrating, it's gonna start funneling to an energy that heals the planet. And with everybody that's a naysayer and in a negative energy, you got no chance, because you get caught up in the whirlwind of love and truth. And no matter how much you try to swim out, it's just that's what's going to happen. And if you got enough good people in this earth, you could change the world. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm really excited about that. And it taught me how to be a teacher. You know, I had moments when I was with my Catholic brothers and my Muslim brothers, over here. They invited me down to the neighborhood where I grew up as a kid, and we had a nice conference. And these were men. They had to leave, but they were so interested in syncretism, which was the platform that I taught on. It was just man's like, oh look, it's 2.5 hours over. They had to go home. They got families. But they stayed for an extra 2.5 hours passionately. And, I love my brothers, but I'll say, even in the nation over there, just like I'm talking to you right now and talking to the world, I talk to them. And that's the encouragement energy that bounces back off me. That's the 1221. It's the duality. How do you bounce off of someone? When you're playing basketball and you're passing, you're only fluid if you're in sync with each other. You're both running at some pace. It's just it's amazing stuff, man. It's amazing stuff. And and when you get it, it's like an alley-oop, if you will. It's that timing. It's the timing.
It's interesting you said the numbers 12 and 21. Well, obviously in numerology, 12 and 21 both break down to 3, and obviously we know the Holy Trinity, and 3 is the magic number. So it's interesting that those two numbers were like main focuses for you, because both them numbers add up to 3.
Yeah. It's big. It's big. Once you start to connect the dots and understand it, you live life differently, and you realize there's so much power that the Creator gave you to live with. And you look at your 60, 70-year lifespan, and you gotta look at science, and you gotta question everything, question science, question everything. Be your own supervisor. Stop looking for a supervisor. You have the brain, you have the heart, and what really is going to help you is when you start cleaning your body out. That's what's going to help you. When you start going, and cooking's the lie. You don't need to cook your food. You don't. You go to your food. You go to your plant-based foods. You don't need to cook. You can have quick meals, nuts and berries. Your protein can come from beans, and you're not hurting the planet and well, I should say animals, excuse me, and the planet. But it's so important. I'm very passionate about that. Very serious. That's why you know, I kind of missed my boat, and some people get excited and this and that, but I'm very humble with it because I've felt it, you know, it hasn't always been, you know, happy hoo-ha and all this spiritual stuff. And for me, I woke up at 3 a.m. and, you know, dropped a tear for an animal I thought was being slaughtered. Like, man, it's not just all roses, and you know, I felt the depths of life. You know, when I was younger, I got locked up in jail, and you know, I was totally down and out at the lowest pits, and you know, I had to grow up and you know, learn my way the hard way and all this. You know, I'm telling you, it's not. Sometimes God slaps you in the face.
Definitely.
So don't be ashamed of your pain. Don't be ashamed. It's your teacher. It's your teacher. You're
Definitely,
here to
brother.
do. It's your teacher.
I totally agree with what you're saying. Hence, there's a saying, "No pain, no gain." But this is another thing that I would like to tell people as well. Like, if you are going through a tough time, just try your best to go through it, and trust me, when you come out on the other side, there will be a blessing. Every lesson is a blessing, and trust me, it happens to me all the time. Like, you go through a shit period, and then as long as you just ride that storm, there's something good on the other side. Trust me, and that's happened. It happens to me all the time. Like, I mean, like for this year, I went through well, I say this year, in 2019, I went through a very, very tough time, and but then once I got through it, it all worked out fine, and I and like you said, I just if you stick to your goals and you stick to just being you, the creator or the source or Allah or however you um, call God.
No, I want to take the moment. I've reached out and connected with so many people out of how to say the creators respectfully say his existence and his her. It's really neither both.
Yep.
But the Yah, even when you say Allah, it goes back to Yah. And in Mohawk native culture, my mother, she made me laugh. She told me when the natives get angry, the same way we would stub our toe and go, "Oh fuck," you know, the natives, they would go, "Oh, way." And I said, when they say way, and I said, "Ma, you know, they're looking for a way, you know, because whenever we can't find our keys and we're running late or something's pissing us off, we're really asking, we throw our hands up and we're just asking the creator for a way. Show us a way, you know, show me a way right now." And I really think, you know, that's how you come in touch with your tones. You know, your tones. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, you know, and respectfully, man. You could, you know, that's why you ever, you know, put a song on when you're young and recite it and look in the mirror and you're that rock star for a moment. I mean, you're sitting there fooling around with your tones, man. You know, the sound, it's such a gift, and that's your vocal box, man. That's why it's so important to appreciate every single part of you, you know.
Definitely. Also, you know what's interesting, brother? You know, you said you say like way or something. Well, it's like I remember I was watching Martin Kenny, and he was saying that, you know, when you're thinking of something and you go, oh, he said that is like we're calling to the creator, the and that's why we say because it's like we're calling to the source to try and get our brain to remember what we're trying to say, and it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes, and this is the pure truth. It's the truth that we all hold. It's not a decoration. It's not a crucifix on your wall or a moon or and your shirt, your lamp, your computer. It's not anything. If anything, if it is anything, I'd like to think of how a tree branches out. That gives me a pure thought.
Yeah.
And you look at all of the, you know, the placenta, a woman's placenta, and your veins in your body. And I mean, we are a network of trees. That's why when I was a kid, man, I'm telling you, 3 years old, I was 60 feet up a pine tree. My mother turned her back for 1 second. I seen those branches. I seen that opportunity. She was so mad. Whoa, she wanted to whoop my ass. But you know what? I didn't see that I was in the hood, you know, a rough neighborhood, you know. Mom doesn't have too much growing up, you know, got me, younger brother, you know, growing up, you know, native family, you know, Italian mix. It was real different cultures, you know. So, you know, I went in the trees. I went in the trees. I climbed trees. And then as I got older, I never stopped climbing trees. And, you know, I put my masculinity down to say that. Some people, you know, people, guys, shut up, all masculine muscle meatheads. Come on. Oh, excuse me. I love you. I don't mean to talk about people that eat. I really beat up on the ego for being judgmental. I never want to judge anyone. And even in humor, I always catch myself. And I think if a lot of us caught ourselves and told each other, listen, I'm sorry, I said something, you know, like I don't want to attack people that eat meat or seem like an angry vegan. And I really want to make that a pledge. Understand people that eat meat. Understand people that are vegans. Vegan and meat eater come together at the table and give each other a hug. And just try to understand each other.
Definitely.
Like I'm in this for that part of it. I never got in the truth movement or call it or guru stuff for anything but the simple part of it. Like I always felt good because I could encourage people to, you know, take better care of themselves or, you know, look at themselves differently or, okay, that was a gift. That's a talent. So do it, you know, use your talent. You know, my grandfather, very smart, you know, with mathematics growing up, he was a Capricorn, solid, you know, stern guy. And I'm Aquarius, you know, I'm like the next step and the knower and the deep thinker between 2 and 4 in the morning, you know, the witch hour and all this stuff. So I'm accepting my role. I'm gaining knowledge and accepting my role. And he was the one that put me onto this when I was a kid. It was like, talk about the tip of a tree. You know, you go from the hood right here all the way up to the suburbs. Now you go up in the computer room. Now you're at the top playing. He introduced me to this game called King's Quest. And as a kid, that sparked my imagination for quests. And this guy was always walking in the woods, you know, knocking out, you know, gnomes and all this, you know, this crazy world of magic. But I'm thankful for those little times and that game. It sparks you. What sparks you, you know? And then I had a Native American uncle that brought me out in the woods. What sparks you? Get up, get out. Go to the woods. You know, parents, we're all clustered into these cities and this network of concrete. And it's so, I do applaud the cities that, you know, I see these treetop buildings and, you know, more and more people are, you know, it's kind of funny because some buildings, if you look at some of these skyscrapers now, they really look like gardens in the sky. There's some buildings out there that some of us, you know, that research this stuff and see what's going on. We can see that humanity is plant more stuff, plant, keep planting. You know, if they're tearing our forests down, build them back, put seeds in the ground, you know, and we have to be of action. Educate yourself. You know, if you want to do something, seeds in the ground.
Definitely, brother. Do you know what I was going to go on to saying? You know what you was talking about, how like when you was younger, you just naturally had that urge to climb a tree. Well, they always say that when you're younger, obviously you're less corrupted, so you're more at your natural and innocent state. And it's interesting how you were saying about how like the veins are like branches in that are like on a tree and stuff. And I just think that when we're at that younger, tender age, we connect with nature more naturally. And this is why we climb in trees or we like to be out in the park playing with mud or whatever. I remember when I used to go to the park and we used to play like football or soccer or whatever, like, because I was young and I was so free, I used to get really dirty and I would come home dirty and my mum would be like, "Oh, why are you so dirty? All the other kids ain't dirty and you're all muddy and everything." But to me, I weren't doing anything wrong. I was just being an enthusiastic kid, just playing. Do you get what I mean? And
I absolutely get what you mean. And we are so programmed mentally to not get, oh, don't get dirty. And some of those, there's those of us that understand clothes can be washed, memories, cannot be made again, and we live in the moment. And I think at moments like that, there's a part of our personality that I think we really all need to weed out. We need to get our hands dirty, get them dirty, wash them afterwards. If you're in the dirt, make sure you know the dirt you're in. Don't be so, I know some people that, boy, they got it going on, and they got this good health, their diet, they call it. I don't like the word diet, but I just like to call it life. I'm a living being. This is what I choose. Okay. I often say we should replace our social media profile pictures with a picture of a bag of what we just ate the last week, because that's really what we are.
Exactly, you are what you eat, definitely.
But it is, man. It's all good. It's all, I just want people to be able to take better care of themselves. And when people start doing this, you're not gonna hear as much small talk anymore. Why waste your time with small talk? And you get back to the moral lesson of it. And then you have, kids growing up that are conscious, and they're making conscious decisions rather than impulsive decisions.
Definitely. I love it, brother. When I see, I've connected with a few younger brothers and sisters online who are into astrology and who are vegans, and not necessarily just vegan, but who are into this lifestyle from a younger age. And I'm really happy, because I feel like they've got a head start because they're starting early, whereas we kind of caught onto it a bit later. But it doesn't matter when you catch on to it. It's just
no. I understand what you're saying. It would have been nice to understand this earlier. What's available now versus when we were kids. Because the funny thing about it is you really slow your aging down when you stop eating, and that's so true. And it's common sense truth. And we're so addicted to certain lifestyles and fashions and foods. People are very passionate about food.
Yeah. I was one of them. And trust me, brother. Now when before, when I used to eat, or when or now when I go to eat, I don't think, oh, I really want that, or oh, I can't wait to eat. I used to be like that, but now I'm just humble with food, and then I just need a bit to just nourish my. Do you get what I mean? I don't make.
I get what you mean.
As I used to, basically.
And that's sun gazing I got to the point in sun gazing. I've been doing that for about 12 years. And I reached a level in sun gazing where I felt full off of sun gazing. Like I didn't feel hungry physically. Yeah. And I took that energy, and I've got a lot to say about that.
Can you expound upon your techniques, or is that personal to you, or would you share that?
I think there's a level of things that are personal, but I think everything's meant to be shared. So I find as I've gotten older, I've started to share more and more things that I thought were just as better people don't know than know. Because the greater you understand, and the more you understand with the heart, the true word in you that the heart resonates, that we all ignore so much. Come on, everyone out there, hold my hand. How many times did we ignore that voice? Come on. It's so undeniable that's how we've gotten into this mess. It's kind of like the story of the fallen angel. Well, it's no more than a kid trying to turn its back and being ignorant for a second, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're such a reflection as a people of what's going on in the heavens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing that I've come to realize as well, brother, and again, this ain't judging people, and this ain't me saying it that I'm better or worse. It's not the case. I just think that I was watching Jordan Maxwell and Santos's show, and Jordan said something where he said, "When the student's ready, the teacher will appear." And I just think that we've all got our own time Like, because you know, like you said, like sometimes you talk to people about this stuff, or you might say to someone, "Oh, I'm sun gazing." They might say to you, "Oh, you're crazy," or "You into astrology," or "You're weird," or whatever. Like that's fair enough. Like I don't care what people think anyway. But I just think that, like, I always use this example. I feel like the people that get this stuff, like me and you and Jay and Santos and the people watching this, and even if you watching this and you're not really into this stuff, like I said, it's not a judging thing. I just think that, like, someone can be older than you physically, but I think that each individual has their own karma. So, for example, like my parents might be older than me, but my soul might be older in the sense that I've been here more time, which is why I can resonate with these things, whereas maybe they haven't. That's why they don't get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important to reach people wherever they are and understand that even if they're not where you are in a certain place in a certain study, doesn't mean that there's something else that they're doing that you're not there.
Exactly.
So don't take your talent and use it against people and put yourself on a pedestal, because that's what we're up against. We're up against the physical world and making people feel down about what they aren't, or it's just, that's what this is all about. And as it's when people start to understand it, it's just, but there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done.
Definitely, man.
There's a lot of, and let's not get lazy as a people. Let's not just, get on our health guru kicks and be all like, I'm living off the grid and I'm doing this and doing, yeah, it's all great. Now I want to live in a tree, guys. I mean, okay, I want with a hot tub. That's my dream. I want to live in a tree with a hot tub and by the water somewhere. But let's not get so lost in our own comforts and luxuries and ideas. We're great people. I give you, if you've been doing good and you work hard and you have the opportunities, come on, join together. We got enough money in this world to balance and pick our brothers and sisters out, up that are hurting and you need a little help. All we need is more people with a few bucks to actually say, you know what, I'm not going to put this in my casket with me. I'm starting to grow a heart. I'm starting to understand. I mean, what's so cool is this generation is so different than the old way of thinking, that I feel in my heart that even in some of these secret societies and all this, knowledge and hidden mystery stuff, and these people can never ever stop when they start to wake up in their own families. And when you truly wake up, and I feel this is, if anyone were ever to remember me for anything ever, love all beings, and that is the key to the kingdom.
Definitely, brother.
If we all acted like that, forget it. We wouldn't be talking about veganism, fruitarians, chemtrails, and fluoride, and copper clothing, and we wouldn't be talking about none of this stuff, right? We would all just be, in essence, the one. That's where we come from. I guess maybe we're all paying the price. Look at us as a group, okay? Maybe this is where we get our 7 days of the week and all this plural stuff. Somebody in our group messed up. The whole group's got to pay for it. So we're doing this huge circle and going through this stuff, life, sin, death, all this stuff, because somebody in our group messed up. And the final day, the final straw, when the lion lays with the lamb, will be when that energy is finally pierced, and that's when we'll all come back to one.
Definitely, bro. That you just ended that little section with a great quote, man. When the lion lies with the lamb. For anyone who don't know what Nick is talking about, he's referencing the Bible. But what that means is the 12 signs of the zodiac go through the body, and the lamb is the head, and the lion is the heart. And what Nick is alluding to is once your mind connects with your heart, then you're open to see these things and um, to feel the truth and be at one with yourself. Because, like, yeah, your mind is how you think, and your heart is, I guess, how you feel and what's because obviously your soul is who you truly are. Do you get what I mean? The core, obviously. So, and the lamb is your mind, or your head. So once you get them to line together, then you can't be stopped. And that was a great quote that you left there, brother. I just want to
Yeah,
ask you. I'll go and carry on, and I'll ask after. Go ahead, brother.
yeah. I just want to allude. That was something that I had talked to Santos about, and you know, it was. You know, I was going through a state where I was talking to Jay, Russell, and you know, you, and at the time Violet May. Um, there was that one time when I was talking specifically about when the lion lays with the lamb, and I think we all need to grasp that energy and understand it means there is no suffering, there is no death. If the lion's laying with the lamb, you know, I mean, you understand. Why do you think all this, you know, veganism and people, why do you think this is happening at the award shows? You think it's all just about propaganda and celebrities and all this stuff? No, no. People actually give a shit.
Yeah,
Those of us with hearts actually give a shit. Nobody wants to argue about eating meat. I like my meatballs and sausage and Sunday dinner and everything. I love that shit just as much as anybody. My grandfather was a butcher. You know, I mean, come on. This is, and that's why I swear, when you see the bull down on Wall Street, when you look at cows and you see them in the pasture, and you think of Yankee fans, they'll know what I'm saying. Old school Yankee fans, when Phil Rizzuto used to say, "Holy cow!" And even Santos will reference it when you talk about the hulls and the holy cows. I mean, what animal has took the sacrifice and abuse more than our beloved cows?
yeah,
And you know, it's just I just came to a state of realization, and it's not an argument with people. It's not. It's about being right and defending a certain way and being better than somebody. No, I'm just the same as you. I just did some research. I dedicated my life to understanding myself, and this is what I've come up with. We are what we put in our body. We're electric beings. When we run off of electric foods grown from the sun, from the father and the son, and the woman, and the tomb, you know, all these energies. When you eat off of the trees, you will have the energy, you will have the life of the sun. The life of the sun is what gets the light of the world that comes up every day. And no matter if the clouds got in the way today, tomorrow you got another chance. It always comes back up. And
definitely,
it's burning your intentions into this plane of existence that we're in. And the more we grow our intentions in a positive way, that's when we start to see it in our lives.
definitely, brother. It's interesting what you said about the electric foods. Have you ever seen that experiment where a guy gets some lemon juice and he squeezes it in a glass of water, and he's got these light bulbs, and attached to the light bulbs are these two I don't know, like metal rods, and he puts the metal rod in the water with lemon, and it lights up the lemon. No electricity, literally water with lemon can light up a light bulb. And the
I
whole
haven't seen
point,
that video. I haven't seen that video yet, but I'm encouraged to check it out because I've
yeah,
been
it's on YouTube.
watching
I'll
what's
send it
going
to
on.
you. But
Yeah,
the whole,
sure. You know, there's energy all around us. That's a whole nother, man. You could do segment after segment on that. That's great,
but,
and I'm excited about that too. You
but the
know, there's
whole
energy
point
all
of
around us.
me talking about that is, and the guy showing you that video is what he's saying is if you're eating these type of foods, if that's going in your body, then your body will light up, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the whole point of
and
the video. And
yep,
like,
yep.
and this is what I don't get is because I remember when I first stopped eating meat, people like, oh, if you don't eat meat, your brain won't function properly, and blah de blah de blah, and this and that, and but it's like you said, brother, it's common sense truth. if you eat life, you will live, and if you eat death, you will die. Nothing else really has to be said, and it's that simple. But
Well,
unfortunately,
the attack starts out of the womb. As
yeah,
soon as you come out of the womb, they cut your umbilical cord, which
yeah,
is way too fast. You're supposed to leave that connected. You're gaining antibodies. Still, there's stuff happening. It's like when you're running and you're done running. Do you just stop and sit down? No, you walk, right, for a little bit. You gotta let your muscles cool down, right?
exactly.
Just don't. You can't cut that cord right away. That's the attack starts right there. And I encourage new mothers to keep that umbilical cord attached and water births and look into, if you're into, I'm sure, you know, shout out to the power of rise of the good woman. I mean, I think there's in male and female, there's different and good and bad sides of all of us. And there, to the good women out there, breastfeed, take care of yourselves, love your children, understand yourself, be that example, where it's not all about, being selfish and, following a certain regimen you've seen because a famous singer or influence has got. No, I mean, just be a goddess of light. And yeah, I mean, it's going to create great children. And if you create great children, you change the world. But we need each other. That's why you see so many broken families out there. Because I've seen study after study about this. It weakens a home. A home is a structure. We need each other. Yes, the family is great. A lot of us just have ego problems where we can't give up the way we want things. We don't meet each other. We're so stubborn in a certain area, and we need to. That comes with friendships, relationships. I treat somebody 3 years old the same way I would treat somebody 93 years old, but respect. And it's common sense truth.
Definitely.
So it's not just about the alkalytic diet. That's not some people are just in it for, this is, you think it's just all about the eating part of it and what it does for your health. I often tell people, and they ask me, I get, some mail like this. No, it's just holy. It's more holy for me than it is healthy. I appreciate that it's done great things for my health, but this is, if you're part of the truth movement, the so-called quote unquote, then understand it's going to affect every way in your life. It's going to affect how you treat people, how you care about your things, how you become more of a minimalist. I like to say, how many times wouldn't you? I used to say, just give me a full tank of gas and a pocket full of cash, and I'm gone. I mean, we keep all these things, and then you have apartments and houses and U-Haul storages, and you got to do this, you got to do that, you got all this stuff, which, what? That takes you away from, it grounds you somewhere. We become so attached to these things. And I often say, the more you own and you are so worried about and all your possessions and stuff, it owns you. You don't really own it. It owns you. It owns your time, thoughts. How many times have you got up and done the same things over and over again because you just got something that you never use year after year that sits in a drawer somewhere? You're playing with stuff because you think you're going to use it someday. No, keep a small amount of things. Become a minimalist. I think anybody that's in the process of cleaning themselves out and becoming the best version of themselves, that's where it starts.
Totally agree, brother. What you just said, become a minimalist, because the less attachments you got, the less stress you have. It's such a common sense thing. Like I've noticed this in recent times, like where, like I told you before, I was out of I don't know what we're gonna call it, the matrix or the mainstream world for 4 years. And this year I've got back into going to work full time. I work in a vegan restaurant, preparing vegan food and whatnot. And my outlook on life, because it's so different, I don't stress when I go to work, and I'm happy, and because I know who I am and I'm doing something that I feel comfortable about, rather than just going to work for the sake of going to work, which is why I stopped going to work for 4 years, because
I stopped going to work just to make this video. I did a no call, no show because my heart was in it right now. How about that? How about that, world? Hi. I skipped school to be here with you. I don't do things for no reason. I never, you know, if you're out and you're at a convenience store or you're in a line somewhere, start talking to a stranger about, you know, the alkaline diet. You
Exactly.
know, spark that conversation.
Definitely. I try to, with my colleagues, we have some deep conversations as well, and like I love that, like where we exchange ideas. And me and Jay spoke about this on our last show. No matter what someone's knowledge is, or their age, or how well versed they are, how well versed they're not, you can learn something from everyone. But it's just having the mind state and the open mindedness to listen. But going back to the minimal thing, brother, what I was trying to get at is before, when I used to work, I used to literally spend all my money on going to watch football, buying these new clothes, buying this, buying that, because I was bored and I thought I had to. Whereas now, the most the things I buy are all, again, they're all mainly like health related and stuff to help me improve as a person. Like maybe I'll buy some psyllium husk from the health shop and some
But
acai
you
berry
gotta put
tablets and things like that, rather than buying material things that I'm going to put on myself.
you gotta put things around you in your environment that encourage movement.
Yeah,
I often think that our houses with the furniture and the beds and the dining room table, the you know all of this furniture, we keep it for so many years. Not to I mean we need a new set and all this right extra. I think we should have to swing to our kitchen. I think we should have to do a pull up to get upstairs. I think we should you know I think homes give us this resting you know, like, oh, you come home from work, you just plop down.
yeah,
No, come home from work and swing like you're in a video game, man. You know, just act. We lose the sense of our youth so easily because we become adults, you know, and you know, exercise is no more than a suppressed kid inside of in an adult. It's
yeah,
the kid inside you wanting to come out, so you exercise, and you gotta go to the gym. I often say, I make my living room. You know, I got my stuff right in front of my face. Got some jump ropes and punching bag and your weights and you know your books, and then you get out, you go in the world. You know, you should be working on the best you and what you pay attention to, and this goes for a lot of young men. Imagine our male youth actually getting up and caring about themselves and you know going out in nature and you know, instead of going when you let's change the school system to where you know classrooms are no longer boxed rooms anymore and kids actually go out into nature and we have these beautiful decks and along waterways and you know they could just you know these you know turn these areas where there's beautiful little brooks into you know just these you know where you can talk to the kids while they're walking so this way they're not just sitting. We're actually, how many times do you learn more if you're just say you go for a walk with somebody and you talk about something? Doesn't that heighten what you're saying to each other?
definitely, brother. You know what you say that? That's what me and my cousin do this at least once or twice a week after work. We meet up and we just go for a long walk. And while we're walking, we're talking. And when I'm out in nature and that fresh air is hitting my face, it's like I wake up. And like you said, instead of being indoors, just sitting down and being all lazy, I love going out. Like literally, see, this is another thing I just enjoy. If I am outside, I'm in the park or I'm just walking around like with the trees or being with nature because again, because I have a different way of seeing things now, they're the kind of things that I take enjoyment out of. And I think as well, you know how I was saying earlier, like when you're younger, you're at your pure essence and you're more in touch with nature. Well, I think that
Yeah.
once you start cleansing yourself and you start thinking on a different way, it's like we've hit full circle and come back to that innocent kind of stage, but obviously as adults. But I'm just talking about like we're going back to our source rather than going away from it. Whereas for 30 years we was redshift, but now we've hit that wall, we've hit that Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, and we're coming back into the
My son is in, my son is in Capricorn right now.
Your what?
My son is in Capricorn. My
What?
white son is in Capricorn.
Your what?
In my
Sorry.
chart.
Oh, what in
My
your
son.
in your progress chart?
In my chart. I'll share that with the world right now. My son is in Capricorn.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And I tell you, as an Aquarius, man, even these, I've been able to really like have an appreciation for astrology instead of, being so skeptical. And you got to think about it. These people were some of the bravest people because it's like, man, you can't talk that stuff. You can't teach people about that stuff, because it's like, man, why do you hold knowledge? If you actually talk to people, I guess, what I think it's about? Who can teach it the right way?
Definitely.
Maybe that's why they hold the information they hold, because they're so concerned about, well, okay, humanity, okay, here we are, 2020. We got this information, but with great power comes great responsibility. So to put it in the hands of somebody, somebody could be nervous somewhere. Somebody could be,
Yep, definitely. Before we leave, brother, I want you. We was talking about off camera in our private chat. You was talking about like some little plans you've got. Did you want to expound on that in this chat, or what you're currently working on, or where you currently stand at?
Well, currently, it's always been a passion of mine to teach. I love to teach, and I think that's what all of us. That's what we all are. Whether we're parents, whether we go to work, we bounce off each other. We're all teachers to each other. But this world, I have a strong passion to help people, and I always have since I was a kid. And whatever I'm going to be involved in, it's going to have to do with that. And that's why I really appreciate what Santos is teaching, because I really think, if you're going to waste your time, if you're going to take your time out of your life and do something dedicated to anything, right? How often do we waste our time, right? Doing some meaningless whatever, learn, study.
Definitely.
But when you look up something, when you go down the rabbit hole, always have pure intentions in your heart, and you must not be prejudiced. You have to come from a center point of view. Pretend you have no color, no face, no gender, nothing, and come from that point. Understand from that point, and that's how you change the world.
Definitely, I totally agree, brother. Couldn't agree with you more. And this is why it's interesting you say you love helping people. Well, you're an Aquarius, and one of Aquarius's main traits is to be a humanitarian. And I definitely see that Aquarius side within you. I definitely see that shining out in you. And yeah, brother, keep up the good work. Like I said, we've been talking privately for a long while now, but I've seen your videos lately, and I love watching your videos, man. Like whenever I watch your videos, you kind of, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it has a good vibe. You have that energetic, positive vibe, and it makes, because you got some people out there that like truthers, but it's all like doom and gloom. But that's one thing I love about listening to you and watching you. It's like you twist that doom and gloom into something positive, and that's what life's about, transformation. And I totally love what you're doing, brother, and carry on. And I'm sure this ain't going to be the only chat we're ever going to do. This is just the start, and hopefully we'll connect many times, man. Where can people, I know you don't have a YouTube, but are you just currently on Facebook just doing some videos at the moment?
Yeah, I've never been in it for the market or the notoriety or recognition. When it comes to social media, I only bother to go on there to teach and to spread truth. I've narrowed my life down to this point, and I will be doing some things, you know, soon that are more public.
Yeah.
If you're looking for any of that information, though, just go to Santos's page, you know, because a lot of what I'm doing is in relationship to, you know, to what Santos is doing
Yeah.
with Universal Food School. But you know, you could just go to my Facebook page, you know, and you know, from there you start to get, you know, the realization that I don't like to waste time. And if I'm going to talk to you and actually take the time out, you know, what's it going to be about? What are we doing to, you know, make a better place for you and me and our kids? And you know, I like that. Roll your sleeves up and let's get, you know, let's look at the world as our backyard, and we need to put some, you know, get the rakes out and then do some work in the backyard. You know, let's all. It's all about helping each other clean this place up. So if you get better hearts, especially when it comes to like people in the armed services, like our police and our beautiful military, and you know, people with, you know, I got my cousin, you know, it was in Time magazine. He was, you know, he's in the military, got a lot of respect, you know, our veterans, and you know, and I get all that energy, and I just think once more conscious people are in the military, then I mean, come on, we're all brothers and sisters. You know, when big decisions are made, people of moral hearts, those should be our generals. Our generals on this earth should be those of with moral hearts, and that are open, and that are right there, and that you see and you understand. You know, your everyday common folk. It's not all about hoarding and being stuck on it. You know, it's not. And I really think once our people in power start to feel their heartbeat, that's, you could change the world. You could change the world right there. Let's see them put that on the 6 o'clock news.
Definitely. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a good one, but we're going to be signing out now. So peace, love, and blessings to everyone. Thank you, Nick, for taking your time to talk with us. And like I said, this won't be the last time. This is the first time, and hopefully there'll be many more to come. If you're watching this video, feel free to check the links in the description where you can check out my page and Nick's page and the Alkalise to Realise page and much more info. But for now, we'll be signing out. Peace.